Crack the IELTS writing test right here. We'll cover both tasks, time management, word count rules, and the analogy that will change how you approach this exam.
Okay, let's talk about the IELTS writing test. If you've ever looked at it and just felt completely overwhelmed, trust me, you are not alone. It can feel like this massive, complicated puzzle. But today, we're going to decode it. We are going to lay out the complete blueprint for that entire 1-hour writing section so you know exactly what's coming and, more importantly, where to put your energy. Everything, and I mean everything, starts with this one number, 60. That's it. You get exactly 60 minutes to do the whole writing test. No extra time, no breaks. This isn't just a suggestion, it's a hard and fast rule. And how you manage every single one of those minutes, well, that's the first big key to unlocking a great score. So what are you actually doing for that hour? You know, this is the first trap people fall into. They think, oh, it's just one long essay, but it's not. And not knowing how that time is supposed to be split is so critical because if you go in without a plan, you are almost guaranteed to run out of time. Right, here's the first big piece of the puzzle. That 60-minute clock isn't for one thing. It's for two completely separate writing tasks. And you don't get to pick your favorite. You have to get them both done to pass. And here's the official breakdown of those two tasks. For task 1, the recommendation is to spend about 20 minutes and write at least 150 words. But look at task 2. That's the main event. They advise you to spend 40 minutes on it, and you need to write a minimum of 250 words. So right off the bat, you can see this is not a 50-50 split. The test itself is already shouting at you about where you should focus. And this is where a smart strategy can make all the difference. We're not just spending more time on task 2 because it's longer. It's about something way more important. The two tasks are not worth the same amount of marks. Honestly, ignoring this fact is probably one of the biggest mistakes you can possibly make. Just look at this breakdown. Task 2 isn't just a bit more important, it's worth a massive 2/3 of your entire writing score. Task 1, it only covers the other 1/3. Just let that sink in for a second. Your essay has literally double the impact on your final score. If you remember one thing from this whole explainer, make it this. And hey, don't just take my word for it. This is an official rule. The test guidelines state it in plain English. This means you absolutely have to prioritize task 2 with your time and your brain power. It's not just a good idea, it's the only way you can really aim for those higher band scores. So let's just put it all together side by side so it's super clear. Task 1, 20 minutes, 150 words, 1/3 of the points. Task 2, 40 minutes, 250 words, 2/3 of the points. The numbers really don't lie, do they? Your whole time management strategy has to be built around this reality. Okay, now let's dig into the tasks themselves, starting with task 1. This is where things get a little interesting, because there's a big twist. The task 1 you have to do is completely different depending on which IELTS module you're signed up for, academic or general training. So if you're taking the academic module, your world in task 1 is all about data. You'll get a graph, a chart, maybe a map or a diagram, and your job is to describe the facts and figures you see. But if you're taking the general training module, it's a totally different ballgame. You'll have to write a letter, and that letter could be personal to a friend or super formal or somewhere in between. So after that forked path in task 1, everything comes back together. Task 2 is what I like to call the great equalizer. It doesn't matter one bit if you're doing academic or general training. Everyone gets the exact same kind of challenge. And that universal challenge? It's the essay. A formal written response, at least 250 words, on some kind of topic of general interest. And since this is the one task that everybody has to do, and it's worth 2/3 of the marks, yeah, mastering this essay is the absolute heart of your preparation. So what kind of topics are we talking about here? Well, they're pretty broad, and they're designed so that anyone from any background can have an opinion on them. You might get a question like, should tobacco be banned just like other drugs? Or you might be asked to argue for or against something like space exploration. But here's the next level. Knowing the topic isn't quite enough. You also have to understand the type of question they're asking. The way the question is structured tells you exactly how to structure your answer, so you've got to be ready for any format. Let's break down the 5 most common types you'll probably see. Okay, you'll almost certainly get one of these 5. First, the opinion essay, which basically asks, do you agree or disagree? Then you have your advantage/disadvantage essay, pretty self-explanatory. The problem/solution type asks you to look at an issue and suggest some fixes. A discuss two views essay needs you to look at both sides of an argument. And finally, you might get double questions, which, yep, hits you with two related questions in a single prompt. So really understanding this overall structure, that's your blueprint for the whole test. Once you've got that blueprint down, the next step is to start building with the right tools. And that means mastering that formal language, that register, and the logical structure that the examiners are really looking for. So there you have it. That's the complete breakdown of the IELTS writing test. You know the timing, you know the weighting, and you know the different tasks. The only question left is, now that you have the blueprint, where are you going to start building?